This is new from Seymour Hersh, and I just thought it had a lot of great update points on what's going on in Ukraine, and I wanted to bring them to you. On July 17th, Ukraine attacked, you guys already know this part, attacked for the second time one of Russian President Putin's proudest achievements, the 11-mile Kerch Bridge linking Crimea to Russia, the $3.7 billion bridge. Ukraine initially attacked the bridge last October using a truck bomb, but it was fully repaired within 7 months. The most recent attack by a pair of submersible drones killed a couple who were driving across. The Biden administration's role in both attacks was vital. Now, Seymour Hersh then conveys that he's getting the not public information. He's getting it from unnamed sources that he has in the Pentagon and in intelligence agencies that, of course, are not allowed to be talking to him. So they are not going to allow their names to be put out there. But Seymour Hersh has a long history of being proven right on all these things. So I trust him on these quotes. The person said, quote, "The drone was remotely guided and half submerged like a torpedo." I asked if there was any thought before the bridge attack about the possibility of retaliation from Vladimir Putin. The person said, quote, "What will Putin do? We don't even think that far. Our national strategy is that Zelensky can do whatever he wants to do. There's no adult supervision." Well, there's also no adult supervision of the American government either. Putin responded to the second attack on the bridge by ending an agreement, a crucial agreement that enabled Ukrainian wheat and other vital food crops stymied by the ongoing war to be shipped from blocked ports on the Black Sea. Before the war, Ukraine exported more grain than the entire European Union and nearly half of the world's sunflower seeds. So Ukraine was a breadbasket for much of Europe, and Putin and the Russians were allowing that to kind of continue during the war, but now he has cut off most of that. So you have the U.S. and our allies going, "Oh my God, he's a monster. Why would he do that?" And you have him and Russia stating that, well, then don't blow up our bridges. But you know, this is what's so fucking gross about war. This is why it needs to end. It needs to end immediately. You sit down at a table and fucking come to peace. The officials said there was a lot more than grain and sunflower seeds flowing into Europe from Odessa and other Black Sea ports. Odessa's exports included illegal stuff like drugs and the oil that Ukraine was getting from Russia. At this point, with the Ukraine counteroffensive against Russia thwarted, the official said Zelensky has no plan except to hang on. It's as if he's an orphan, a poor waif in his underwear, and we have no real idea of what Zelensky and his crowd are thinking. Ukraine is the most corrupt, dumbest government in the world. And then this guy says outside of Nigeria. And Biden's support of Zelensky can only come from Zelensky's knowledge of Biden and not just because he was taking care of Biden's son. So I actually a little bit disagree with this. So again, this is a person working inside the Pentagon or inside an intelligence agency. And he's saying that there's no reason for Biden or the U.S. government to continue to support Zelensky, except that this must come from Zelensky's knowledge of Biden other than just Hunter, meaning he must have something on Biden. He must have some information on Biden. I actually think that's a misunderstanding of what's going on here. I imagine there are many in the Pentagon that don't understand the petrodollar, don't understand why we need to maintain global economic hegemony on this level. And that's the real reason that the U.S. military-industrial complex is continuing this. I don't think, Zelensky might have more stuff on Hunter Biden, but I don't think that's not why we're still dragging on this ridiculous proxy war. Anyway, to continue from that article, the reality, the official said, is that the balance of power in the war is settled. This is the part I think is pretty important. Putin has what he wants, access to Crimea and the 4 Ukrainian oblasts, Donetsk, Kherson, Luhansk, and Zaporizhia, that were annexed by Russia last September 30th. Ukraine does not have them and cannot get them back. Seymour Hersh then goes on to point out that Blinken was on CNN the other day and told the reality in complete backwards terms. He said, he declared that in terms of what Putin sought to achieve in the war with Ukraine, he had already lost. The objective was to erase Ukraine from the map, to eliminate its independence. It was not really to erase it from the map, but its sovereignty, to subsume it into Russia. That failed a long time ago. Now Ukraine is in a battle to get back more of its land. So Seymour Hersh's point is that the Biden administration is living in a fantasy world, and they're trying to project that fantasy world onto mainstream media, to the American people. Seymour Hersh continues, in fact, any future settlement with Russia, if one is negotiated, will almost certainly include new leadership in Kiev, meaning Zelensky gone, and also acknowledge Russian control over the 4 annexed oblasts. Zelensky, if he survives, is known to own a house in Tuscany, which he purchased for $4 million before he became president. But that's not his only house. As Scott Ritter has done reporting on, Zelensky has several houses worth multi-millions of dollars. And Seymour Hersh has also done reporting on the $400 million at minimum that has been lost into Ukrainian corruption, skimmed off the top by Zelensky and his fellow top-level Ukrainians. And it was so much money that was being skimmed off the top of the money that we're sending over there that even the CIA and the U.S. were like, listen, we expect you to steal a little bit, but this is getting all crazy. And then Seymour Hersh concludes with, how would President Biden react if China had established a base in Tijuana, Mexico, and met there with all the left-leaning governments of South America? That's how Putin would be expected to react to the meeting earlier this month of all the NATO chiefs in Vilnius, close to the Russian border. So basically all the NATO chiefs met close to the Russian border, basically as a fuck you to Putin. And of course, beyond just like how would Putin react to that, well, how would the U.S. respond if Russia did what we did? So basically, Russia had put missiles around throughout Mexico, throughout Canada, pointed at the United States, and then also helped create a coup in 2014 in Mexico in order to put a Russian-aligned leader into Mexico. And then Mexico said they wanted to join a Russian military pact, a Russian defense pact against the United States. How would we respond? I think we would lose our fucking minds. I think that's what our government would do. I think it would push all the red buttons they could find, is how I think they would respond to that type of behavior. But we didn't expect Russia to do anything. This is so odd that they invaded Ukraine. I don't understand why this happened. But of course, you report that information of why this happened, why we're in this situation, the fact that we deserve peace, that it needs to be peace now, and then, you know, if you're me, you just get suppressed and censored on most of the main platforms. If you're Gonzalo Lira, you get kidnapped in Ukraine and tortured in prison, and you know, who knows what's happening to him now.